All right, another Metal Monday, and we got some green in the market this morning. At least copper,
Copper looks good. I mean, it took a hit towards the
palladium.
end.
Palladium was all
Palladium looked
right.
good. Yeah, I think rhodium was off a couple $100. Platinum was like
Pretty flat.
sideways, just sideways to maybe down $10. But yeah, rhodium looked good, or palladium looked good. Copper looked good. Everything else is kind of just hanging around. It's gonna be, I guess it'll be an interesting end of the year, for sure.
All right, so did you get some ferrous numbers? Did we go down this month?
Down, yep. Depending on the grade, anywhere from $10 to $25.
10 to 25 over here towards the
Yeah.
West Coast. It looks
Going
like
west,
the
going
Midwest,
east, yeah.
Midwest and East were a little rougher. Is that right? What I
Yeah.
kind of read.
Yeah, and I think, in the Midwest, it sounds like there's just, lack of demand, mill closures, some mills aren't buying. From the guys I talked to over there, it's a pretty rough go. Anything on the cut grade side, busheling's definitely getting whacked, which is not an item we see a lot over here. So we don't have to, kind of worry too much about the busheling
Why
price,
is that
but
one getting whacked more than other ones?
just supply and then demand. There's
Is it used for different?
cost
Is it used for different
associated with
materials?
It depends on what they're making, and if you got a big, just say 2 mills over there that are big busheling consumers and they're out of the market, well then that floods the rest of
rest
the
of them.
market with that material, and you're only going to use so much of it. So then, where the big arbitrage right now, and talking to my buddy Chad Ellerbrock is the shred price. So because the shredders are not seeing nearly the amount of cars, tin, stuff like that. They're shreds at a premium compared to busheling, which that wasn't that way even 6 months ago. So you're seeing guys running fucking busheling to the shredder.
So the
or
shredder
they're,
guys
running
are short on material.
HMS. Well, it's part of the blend, right?
Yeah.
When at a steel mill, it's like baking a cake.
Yeah.
And you need some sugar, you need some flour, you need some egg, you need some. So it's like you need some shred, you need some bush, you need some pig iron, you need some of this, you need some of that.
To make whatever.
It's all the ingredients. Depends on what you're making. Are you making angle? You're making hot roll. You're making cold roll. You're making. It just really depends. Are you making rebar? That all takes a different cake mix, right? So every commodity, depending on the volume, availability, what you need, what you're trying to make, plays a role.
It still sounds like, I talked to a few guys back east last week. Their flow's really, really down. Everybody's flow's really down. Like ours, if anything was down, it still kind of is, but we've had a few bigger jobs pop up from our customers, so it's been a little better. But it feels like the flow's going to continue to be down the rest of the year. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I absolutely believe the flow will be slow. We talked about this in our meeting here last week, and I just said, be prepared for the flow to be at this pace or less. So make sure that we're executing on, equipment, making sure it's in the right spots. Luckily for us, and it's been designed this way, is that we're diversified enough that we can move assets around to where they're needed. Which, when everything's busy, it becomes a real chore because you've got every piece of equipment out and about, and you're spread really thin. But in times like this, it actually is advantageous because we can kind of move assets, say, toward the tire recycling business, toward the scrap if we have a big demo job or a crush job or a baling. If a baling job, say at landfills, or our ability to move our assets is really the only, the big advantage we have to keep it going when things do slow down like they are right now.
And you get some time to maybe get some things in for some needed maintenance.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You
get some of your projects done.
Get some of the smaller projects done. We'll get some shit cleaned up. Take a harder look, make sure we're doing things smarter. I think it's like anything. There's always positives, even in some negative markets. You can find some positives for your yard,
Downtimes allow you to build in efficiencies that make you more efficient when everything turns back up, right? If you use them the right way and you're cost conscious and you get yourself into a position, it's hard to do a bunch of facility projects when you got 100 customers coming across your scale a day.
Mm-hmm.
When you have 40, 30, all of a sudden those windows of opportunity are open. And then if you've saved your money and put yourself in a position that when those times come, now all of a sudden you can do some infrastructure projects. You know, like right now, one of the big things we're doing is we're making some kind of covered area for our car processing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's something we've been wanting to do. We've set the iron aside. We've had it in our thought process that we need to get it done, but we just haven't had the people, the manpower, the time.
Well, when you have 100, 200 cars come into that one yard every month, it's hard to free up the time.
Yeah, you know, and those are your smaller yards, and you just got these cars just pounding in. I mean, you're just not going to have the time or the space to do it. Now, we're attacking those projects, amongst other, little, infrastructure stuff that we've been needing to get done. Equipment maintenance also. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. Do I want to stick around, slow times for 2 years? No, I don't need 2 years to get these projects done. A few months, yeah, it'd be ideal, but it does feel like it's going to be slower for a while.
Where do you think copper goes? Do you think let's make a bet.
Man.
Let's make a bet.
I've got a podcast coming out this week with John Gross, who's the copper guru, right?
Okay.
And he does not predict prices. He goes, I just read the charts. I show you people the charts. Yep. He said, this is how it is, right?
He shares the data.
And he's like, until the market is trending down like it is right now, he's like, until it actually stops and turns up for a consistent period of time, which we have not seen, he goes, the trend is down. He goes, which is kind of like counterintuitive because the inventory keeps coming down. But he's like, until something tells me different, he's like, the trend is still down. What that means price-wise, he's like, I don't think he's going to sit there and commit or guess or whatever. But it feels to him like unless something stabilizes out and starts to move back up, he's like, I still feel like the trend is down.
I think it gets to 355 by Thanksgiving.
That's a bullshit guess. It's fucking 348 today.
Okay, 360. You take that bet?
Like for an hour? Is it going to bump 360?
It just has to hit it.
Will you go to 375?
I'll do it 363.
Oh, jeez. If you go 370, I'll take that bet.
All right, I'll do it. $100 by
Done
Thanksgiving.
Deal. Done deal.
Okay, 375.
I got the low side this time.
All right. Well.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and see you next Monday.
Thanks, everybody.